People say that a life has stripes. After black stripe comes a white one. But looking back at my past 9 years, I can say that I was tested every year, every incident, every meeting, every circumstance. A year 2019. It was a very successful year for me. So successful that one day I spun a globe and said to myself, whichever country my finger lands on, that's where I will go. It landed on Panama, an amazing, underrated country in terms of tourism. My colleague, Natasha, who has worked with me for over 12 years and whom my business partner had ruthlessly pushed out, joined me during this trip. We spent almost the entire summer exploring the country while continuing to organize tours for our clients. We visited Panama City, Tobago Island, national parks, and the area of the Thousand Islands, Bocas del Toro, incredibly beautiful, untouched islands. One night we even stayed in a floating house under the open sky, enjoying the sounds of monkeys all night. The trip was unforgettable for me and a life changing for Natasha. You never know where happiness will find you. For 2020, I naturally had huge business plans. We had sold almost all the spots for our group tours through the end of 2020. Competitors copied our business model, and I looked forward to the year with optimism. And the pandemic came, and all plans and hopes collapsed. Everything fell apart at once, with huge financial losses. But strange, in spite of collapse, I was calm. I understood I was not alone and that the entire tourism industry was actually in the same boat. I calmly made a list of clients, personally called almost everyone, and assured them that all tours would resume immediately after the pandemic. I waited quietly. Of course, sales were zero, debts were enormous, hundreds of small hotels where we had reservations went out of business, and companies we had deposits with for transportation services disappeared. But despite the scale of the disaster, I stayed calm and positive and strong. I lived, and in spite of anything, I was making plans for the future. But later, in September 2020, something happened. Almost every night, for several weeks, I started to see the same dream. My deceased friend was approaching me, taking my hand, and he was saying, "Follow me." The same dream for several nights, for several weeks. He was leading me to a doctor. People say when a strong spiritual connection exists between people in life, it continues even after one of them passes away. I believe in this. It may sound strange, but this connection saved my life. At some point, I decided to go to doctor, and like a thunderbolt from a clear sky, tests, analysis, and each result worse than previous one. Anyone who has had a biopsy or received frightening test results with the question, is it cancer or not, knows what I'm talking about. It was terrifying. The test showed a precancerous condition, and the doctor told me, you have only 5-6 months before catastrophe comes. You need an urgent surgery. And this was during the pandemic, when my travel business had completely stopped, when hospitals had huge lines, when I was very afraid, and at the same time understood I had no medical insurance and a very, very limited time. God, it was terrifying. Tears streaming down, a small child beside me, feeling powerless in such a big world. I remember telling my husband, I remember my tears, I remember asking for help. I was not asking for financial help, but I was asking for something else. I was pleading. And then I realized that even here, in the face of a terrifying illness, I was alone again. And again, I told myself, either I bend this world to my will, or the world will bend me and destroy me. It was a choice to give up or keep fighting. And I began to do something that only 3 people know about. I hope that this secret stays with you, between you and me. Am I ashamed? Yes, I am ashamed. Not because what I did was wrong or associated with crime or with some inappropriate actions. No, but because I had to do it to save my life. And on my channel, I share the story of my life and the chain of events that brought me to where I am now. But those 120 days I still remember with tears, and I will only share it on internet when I reach my financial goal. On the surgery day, I remember my mixed feeling: fear, emptiness, loneliness, confusion. But still, even in this case, I stayed positive. I was smiling, dancing, and posing for pictures. I kept asking myself, why? Having a family, I'm always alone. I have always been alone. In all questions, in everything. We lived with my husband in parallel worlds. 12 days after the surgery, I was driving when I got a call from my doctor with news. He told me, I have 2 news for you, bad and good. Start with bad one, please. Unfortunately, cancer cells were found in the removed tissue, but the surgery was very precise and perfectly done. Oksana, you are healthy. Everything was done in time. I stopped the car, ran outside, and spun around for a long time. I was relieved. This time, my tears were of joy shared with myself. That evening, however, I kissed my son and he kissed me, and I said to him, Mom made it. Mom survived. And I stopped, of course, doing what I was doing. But I think at that moment, it was a moment when I came to the conclusion in my head that I had never been a part of the family. Too many situations I had been facing alone. Something within me died completely. My feminine side died, and I began to live by the principle. I live for my son, but my own feminine happiness and energy at the age of 37 is over. All good things remain in the past. I stopped enjoying my reflection in the mirror and I began gaining weight rapidly. This was the day of my surgery, and this was 4 months later. Why? Now I have the answer. A woman cannot live without love. Life without love was killing me, and it was meaningless, absolutely. Meanwhile, my tourism business thrived. I collected myself, rebuilt, and relaunched the business again. I started to fulfill all commitments for tours, and once again, my company, To Be America Corp, took business away from all competitors. During the pandemic, all tourism companies had three options to survive. Number one, change the company name, do a rebranding, and restart from scratch, ignoring previous obligations. Number two, declare bankruptcy and just leave the business. And number three, 99% of companies in my segment chose the first or the second option, but I decided to explore the option number three. And again, I chose the most difficult path, fulfilling all my commitments. I was resolving problems, clients were entering United States, and I was conducting canceled tours. The year 2021 itself turned to be a good one, and one day, in the end of December, a lightning bolt went through me. I decided to buy a bus. It was memorable in every sense and life-changing for sure. But at the same time, I didn't know yet how exciting the next 4 years would be for me. And of course, I didn't yet know that one day I would invite my life over the tea. Я пригласила свою жизнь на чай. Без плана, без обид, без ожиданий. Пусть сядет рядом, помолчит. Пусть вспомнит все без оправданий. Она пришла, немного устав, с глазами, где отразились годы. В руках мой страх, мой смех, мой путь, мой каждый шаг сквозь непогоды. Мы долго пили не чай, а время. Теплое, терпкое, как прощение. И жизнь сказала, все, что было, не боль, а просто посвящение. Я улыбнулась, сердце стихло. Ни злости, ни вины, ни крика, лишь чувство, будто дождь прошел, и стало тихо, очень тихо, и я шепнула: спасибо, жизнь, что не сломала, научила, что в каждом шраме мой рассвет, что в каждой утрате моя сила.